Everyone, hello everyone. So today we are gonna to discuss how we can implement Palo Alto Firewall in AWS Cloud in active passive cluster. Okay, so I will start from scratch and we will try to build this kind of topology. Okay, and first I will install one Palo Alto Firewall. I will install another Palo Alto Firewall, which is second firewall, and I will just make Ethernet 1/1 interface of this primary firewall as a like 10.1.10.250, and I will use this particular range of IP address. And inside network, I will use 10.1.1.0/24 kind of network. And this is my management interface, and I will use Ethernet 1/3 as a H interface. So now let me just start with the configuration part, guys. So first, what I will first log in into my AWS account. I will create one BPC. On that BPC, I will create the subnets. Okay, I will create management subnet. I will create a HA subnet. I will create a subnet for inside network, subnet for, we can say, outside network. Okay, then we will also create a different kind of routing table. So let me just start, and we will see how we can basically do that in step-wise manner. So I'll directly jump into my AWS account. So this is my AWS account. Okay, right now I'm in my BPC, and if you go to into my BPC, I don't have any BPC. So what I will create one BPC. Right now I'm in North Virginia region. So what I will give the name to this BPC like Palo Alto Lab. Okay, I will give this particular name to this Palo Alto Lab BPC. Here I have to define the subnet. So I will define this subnet 10.0.0g 0.0.0/20. I'll go down. I will go with default tenancy and I'll click on create BPC. Okay. So I have just created one BPC in my AWS account. Okay. Now I'll go to into the subnets. I'll just click on subnet and I'll just select here my BPC. And now I will just create a subnet. So first I will create a public subnet, or I'll give the name to the subnet like untrust. Public subnet I will use as a outside untrust, or let me just give here outside. Outside is this one, and I'll just put this one into US East 1A. Okay, so I'll generally put all my subnet into the same availability zone. Okay, now I will define the subnet range here 10.1.10.0/24. Why I'm using this range? Because in my outside network I'm using IP address in 10.1.10.250, means this is the subnet. So I have, because I will use this subnet towards my outside network. Okay, so I have just given this subnet here. I'll add another subnet, and name to this subnet I will give like private subnet, which is like inside. Availability zone I'll just put into the same availability zone, and 10.1.1.0/24 I will use this particular subnet here. I'll click on add a new subnet. Okay, and this time what I will just create one more subnet, which is management subnet. Okay, and in management subnet I also put into the same availability zone. And if you go to if I'll go into my topology for management papa, I'm using 10.1.11.0/24. This is for primary, and 10.1.12.0/24 for secondary. Okay, 10.1.11.0/24. Select this one, management subnet. I'll just give primary. I'll create one more subnet, management subnet for secondary. Availability zone is US East 1A, and IP address is 10.1.12.0/24. In the same way, I also need to create a HA subnet. Okay, go there, HA subnet primary, and I will just use here 10.1 dot. I think in HA I'm using 100, right? 10.1 dot 100.0/24. Okay, let me just copy this one and I'll add one more subnet here. This is for secondary. 10.1.101.0/24. I have created subnet like this, guys. Okay. Now I'll just click on create subnet. CIDR range is not within the CIDR from this BPC. Okay. I think these, 1 minute, let me just check. Okay, because I'm using this particular range. Okay. So that's why. So what I will do, I'll just, instead of this one, or what I can do, let me just go to into my BPC one more time. I'll click on your BPC. I'll go into this BPC. I'll click on CIDR. Okay. So this is my CIDR range. Okay. Edit CIDR. And I'll just add one more CIDR range, which is 10.1.0.0/20. Just save it. Close it. Now I'll go there and create subnets. So I think this CIDR is not reflected yet. So I think I have to create this thing from scratch one more time. Okay. So I'll just go there. Let me create a subnet one more time. That's not issue. Right now both the CIDR has been visible here. Okay. So first I will create a public subnet. Public subnet. This is for outside network. Availability zone is US East 1A. CIDR is 10.1.10.0/24. Copy this name. Add one more subnet here. And this time I'll define a private subnet. This is for inside. Availability zone is US East 1A and the IP address is 10.1.1.0/24. We'll add one more subnet. Management. Management subnet. Primary. Okay. Primary sub, I will use a 10.1.11.0/24. This is for secondary. US East 1A 10.1.12.0/24. Let me also create HA subnet. HA subnet primary. So 10 dot now 1.100.0/24. Create HA subnet secondary. US East 1A 10.1.100.0.0/24. Let me click on create. So right now these are the two subnet which is comes under out of range, right? So let me just go. I will use here 13. I think we have to select some bigger block. Okay, 13 is there, and I will use here 14. We will go with like that. That's not an issue. So now our subnet creation is in progress. Subnet has been created. Okay, now I'll go to into my routing table. So there is a one routing table is available. So what I will do, I just give the name to this routing table like public route table. This is my public route table. Okay, I will create one more route table, private route table means this is the private route table. Okay, I have to select the BPC, so I will select my Palo Alto lab BPC. Let me also create one internet gateway here because in AWS I gateway Palo Alto lab. I'll give this kind of name. I will create internet gateway and I'll attach this gateway with my BPC. So we have to create this particular gateway if we want to access the internet. Now I'll go to into my routing table, go into my public routing table. I'll click on subnet association and now I will just do the subnet association, guys. What I will put management subnet, primary, management subnet of secondary, and public subnet is also into this particular public routing table, guys. Okay, and also in public routing I also need to do the route modification. I just click on edit routes. I'll add one route. I will define a default gateway, and the next row is internet gateway. So because I want to access both firewalls through the management interface, and that management interface we will configure in this way. So this will get the IP address, public IP address, and we will able to access it from our main system. Other modification of routing table we will do later, like how we will modify the private routing table. Okay. Now these are the things which you have to perform here. Now just go to into your EC2 instance, guys. Go to into your EC2 instance and what? Just click on EC2 dashboard, click on launch instance here, go to into AWS marketplace and type here Palo Alto and click enter. So first device you will get like panorama. So if you want to configure panel or if you want to deploy panorama, you have to go select this one. But you this is a like Palo Alto network VM 300 bundles. Okay, it will cost high. So what I will use this one VM series next generation firewall, which is like bring your own license. This one because it will cost very less. It's a pan OS 10.1.0, guys. Okay. So what I'll just select this one. These are the charge, how they will charge per hours. Okay. You can just check it out. All these things. I'm just click on continue. Now go down and you can just select this C4 XLRs. Okay. This is the first one. So it will have a like 4 CPU and 7.5 GB of RAM. And if you want to see the charges for this one, so let me just select this one, click on configure. Charges we will able to see in last. Okay. What here I have to basically only install one instance right now. This is my Palo Alto lab BPC. I will select this BPC and here I will first select my management subnet for primary actually. I will select this particular management subnet primary. I want to enable this option. So because I want public IP address on my management interface. Maybe in other cases you will configure the private IP address, but I want here right now public IP address. So that's why I have selected this one because I want to access this file from my system. go down, and just what is the IP address you want into your management interface. So what, as per this time, I will configure 10.1.10. Let's suppose 10.1.11.250. I want this IP address in my management address. I'll just go with this IP. This is the private IP address. Okay, click on next. It will take around 60 GB of storage. With that, this is a volume type, general purpose SSD G2. Click on tag. I will add a tag here. Name equals to Palo Alto Firewall 01. This is my first firewall, guys. Security level. Let me see if I'm having any existing. I'll just create a new security group. Okay. Palo Alto Lab Security Group SG. And what I want, I will just delete this rule. In first go, I will allow all the traffic, guys. Okay. I will just allow all traffic, debut and launch. Click on launch. Here it will give that error. So I have it is just basically asking for the key pair, because we have to, when we log in on this device, we have to put this key pair first time. So what, I'm having one key pair, I will just use this existing key pair, but if you want, you can create a new key pair as well. Okay, but I'm using this existing one. Launch instance. Now launch instance is launching. This Palo Alto instance is in a launch stage. Okay, so we will wait here. Meanwhile, let me again open another EC2 tab, guys. Here, so first we will build our primary gateway, and after we will build our secondary gateway. Okay, so let me just wait, because the thing is we have to now create our interfaces, guys. So I'll go to into my network interfaces here. We have to create network interfaces. So let me just create a network interfaces. So I will first create inside NIC, means my inside interface. What is the inside subnet? I have to select one subnet here. So subnet is, so we have to look into our subnet. What is the subnet? So this is your inside subnet, right? Private subnet for inside. I'll just choose this one. What is the, I want a custom IP address on this subnet, on this interface. So I will use 10.1.1.250/24. I want, or let me just use a auto assignment. I will just select this one, but later on I will change that option in my, from my firewall itself. Okay, select this SG, name is this one. Let me just add a tag here. Okay, description, I'll just add a tag. I will add a name tag inside next. So this is my inside interface. Create this interface. I will create another interface, which is outside NIC, means outside interface. Subnet is, I will select here subnet, which is a public subnet outside. I will select this subnet, this one, and I will give the name to this interface, which is outside NIC. Okay, so I have created these things. Okay, these interfaces. Now let me also create an interface for, which is this interface. I need to create one interface for HA primary. I will select here HA subnet, which is primary subnet. Okay, HA prime subnet for primary. Let me give some description. HA primary NIC. This is the interface for of primary firewall of HA. Copy, give the nick, full nick here, create this interface. Let me create one more interface for secondary. HA secondary nick. Subnet is, I have to select here HA secondary subnet. I will select my Palo Alto SG, give the name tag here. This is for secondary nick. Create a, I have created these interfaces. Okay, let me just see what is the status. I think my instance is open. Let me go to into my instance here right now. EC2 running instance. So this is the instance. This is my Palo Alto Fire which we have launched successfully, guys. This is the public IP address and this is the private IP address. Okay. Let's copy this public IP address, guys. Okay. Now I'll just go to into my browser. I'll type HTTPS, Control V, HTTPS ::, ping 2 with -t. Right now, see, ping is not working. Why? I'll go to again into my this instance here. Instance is actions, and let me just see instance settings. Just want to see the some details. Okay, so security, get the instance snap screen. So right now we will see it is in what state. Okay. So right now, if you see here, it is initializing right now, right? It is initializing right now. So we have to wait for this initialization to complete. When we will able to see her login, that prompt, which means everything is fine now. When we will to see her that login prompt. Right now, what's happening? Palo Alto, what happening actually? As we have seen multiple times, when we deploy Palo Alto VMware workstation, we have seen first Palo Alto basically come into this VM login stage, right? So the thing generally, if it is in Palo Alto in this stage, which means your Palo Alto firewall is load the Linux kernel, right? Now what it is doing now, it is starting the pan application which we have in which Palo Alto have installed on top of this Linux kernel. Okay, so now this application service is starting. Okay, so we will wait here for some time. Meantime, what I am doing, let me just install my another Palo Alto firewall. Okay, I'll go to into launch instance, click on launch instance here, marketplace, Palo Alto. So guys, in this lab, we will see both things, how we can launch the Palo Alto instances and how we can configure them in active passive mode. Next VM series next, I will choose this one because in HA, you want to put two devices in HA. These are required. We have to use same model number. They will have a same operating system version, right? All these things we have to take care. Let me go down. I will select here C4 XLRs. Select same BPC and I will put into this firewall is also management subnet for secondary. I want public IP address. I will enable this setting. And in management IP, what IP I want? In this interface, I want 10.1.12.250. 10.1.12.250/24. I want this IP address, guys. The primary IP address 10.1. Okay, I have to use this one only. It will automatically take the subnet. Next, next, I will add a tag here. Name equals to Palo Alto Firewall 2, guys. Security group. I will use existing security group which we have created. This is the security group, right? VPN launch. Launch. I will use this key and launch it. Yes, see what is the status now. Yeah, ping is working, which means my firewall is about to come. See, it is in this prompt, which means we can able to log in now. Cancel it. Let me again try to access. Ping is working, which means we are having connectivity. Okay. Sometime after this stage also it will take some time because maybe it is in transition state and all. Okay, so we will wait for some time. Let me see what is the status of other one. So you will able to see both the firewalls is right now. So they are in initializing state if you see here, right? So we have to wait. This is primary. This is secondary. 10.1.12.250, 10.1.11.250, right? So the public IP address of this one. So let me also paste this public IP address here. And we will wait for some time. See, all two checks has been passed for this one, which means now this firewall we can able to access. Okay. I will keep opening them. Let me just use my Mozilla Firefox browser. Okay. Okay. So before that, what I can do, guys, as ping is working, okay, I think I have missing one step, guys. Okay. What I have to do, I'll open my putty. I have to change the username and password, guys. I think then only it will start working. Okay. I will open my putty here and I'll just copy the copy the primary IP address of my primary firewall, this IP. What I can do, let me just click on SHS, click on auth, and I will just browse my key. As authentication, I will select this particular PEM file, session. We have to log in this way. Still, it is giving some error. Okay. No problem. Admin at this IP address. Okay. This key is already selected. So let me see the instance stage. What is the stage right now? So now after waiting till 2-3 minutes, because the thing is what happens, it is taking some time in starting these PAN OS application services. Okay. So after it, if you see, I am getting the web access of this particular firewall, right? But before that, before accessing this firewall via web UI, what you have to do, you have to log in via SHS and you have to change the admin password. Okay. So how you can do that? Just type here admin at the rate, copy this IP address and just go to into SHS, and in auth you have to browse that particular PEM file, this particular file, guys. Login. See, now it is giving this error. This particular message using username is admin. We have just able to log in into the firewall, right? If you want to see the details, just hit this command. So system info. This is the host name of this device. This is the IP address on the management interface. This is net mask. This is the default gateway, right? All these details you will be able to see here. What you can do, just type here configure. Just modify the IP address. Just change the IP address. Set mgf config users admin password. We have to just change the password, and I will just configure here password. So I have just changed the password. This password is case sensitive, guys, and also you have to put some kind of a strong password, like we can see Cisco at the rate 34541, like that. Okay, some strong password which includes special character, uppercase, lowercase letters, and numbers. And after I just hit the commit, guys. Let me just see the status of secondary one. Just try to ping this device as well. 54.221.4.4 minus T. I will just, so ping is working. Okay. But SSS will take some time, guys. And see, let me see. So if commit is in progress, let's wait for it complete till 99%. Yeah, it's completed. So what? Now go to into your prompt and just log in from GUI. Okay. So right now I've just put here password, username is admin, and I'll just put the password what we have changed. Log in here. So let me guys tell you till now what we have done. We have created our BPC, then we have created our subnets. We have also created a routing table, right? We have created, there is a one routing table, which is a main routing table that is like your public routing table. And on that public routing table, we have also associated few subnets, right? We have associated management subnet, and also we have created internet gateway. And we have, because we have created this internet gateway, just we want to reach till the internet, right? And after, I have also created a private routing table, which we, where we will put our private subnets, guys. Okay, or our inside host or servers. This is, and after we have just launched two Palo Alto VMs. After that, in primary VMs, what I have first login via SHS, and I have just modified the password, and now I am just able to log in through the GUI, or we can say web UI of your Palo Alto file. I will do the same thing on secondary device when it comes properly. Okay, I will change the password, then I will access it from the GUI, and after we will see the other configuration like IP address on the interface, all these things. Remind me later. So this is the basically we can say web UI of your firewall, guys. Go to into device, and setup, and here you can just modify the host name of your device. Give the name like Palo Alto Firewall 01. Domain name, if you have any domain name, I will give my domain name like cnets.com, our website. Login banner, this firewall belongs to, I will give my organization name, belongs to cnets.com. I'll configure this banner. All these things I will leave default. Click on OK. And if I'll go to into interfaces, these are the interface right now, guys. See, right now you will not able to see any interface. Now what we have to do, we have to associate our interfaces here. Okay. So let me first commit this device. Okay. Because I just give the host name on this one. So I will just commit first. Let me see the state of secondary. It's not come. It is still in a progress, guys. So what I can do, let me go there. I will select your secondary. It is also still in initializing state, right? So initializing has been completed for this one, but still it will take some time for come up properly. So we have to wait, guys, here. Meanwhile, what I can do, because now on this file got this interface Ethernet 1/1, Ethernet 1/2, and Ethernet 1/3, right? What I will associate the interfaces which we have created in our AWS with this Palo Alto VM, right? So how I can do that? I'll go to into my, so first of all, I just see the UI of this one. So this particular firewall having 12CA6. Okay, this is the instant ID of this device. What I can do, I'll go to into my interfaces, network interface. I'll just open into a new tab, and for what, I'll first pick the inside interface. Okay, and I'll just attach this interface with the Palo Alto Firewall 1. Now I'll go to into my outs interface, and I'll just attach with my Palo Alto Firewall. Okay, now I'll go to into the HA interface of my primary firewall, and I will attach it. Okay. So now we have basically associated all these interfaces like this HA primary interface, inside interface, and your outside interface with Palo Alto Firewall 1. Now I'll go to into Palo Alto Firewall 1. Let me just refresh it. This is interface tab. Okay. So still interface status is like this. Let me just see what is the status at this end. So now this firewall is also about to come. So now what I can do, let me just log in on this one, and I will try to access this firewall as well, like that. Click on this one. I'll just log in as a SHS on that one. .26 patch open, edit. So we have just accepted the keys. Now I have just able to log in on this firewall as well. Go to into config mode, and I'll just set the password. I'll just change the password. So set mfg config users admin password. I will set the password. I will set the password here as well. And I'll just do the commit. Let's wait for this commit to complete. So right now I'm in first firewall. Exit. I'll just run one command. So interface Ethernet. So interface all. So I'm not able to see these interface status right now. Let me log in on this device as well. Okay. We have associated these interface, but I'm not able to see that color should change. Okay. What I will do, I'll just need to maybe restart after association. So let's wait for this to complete first. This is the Palo Alto Firewall to management interface, right? Let me see the other details. So this interface is in use right now. Okay. This is the IP address which we have got on that interface. No problem. Let's see. I'll go to into this interface. Let me, okay, link state is auto. That is correct. Yeah. Close this one. Remind me later. Directly go jump into the device. And I'll just change the name like Palo Alto Firewall 02 crnets.com. This firewall belongs to cnnet.com. Click on OK. Click on commit. Close. Commit is going on. Now let me again associate the interface with this device as well. I will go into this interface. Inside NIC, I'll just associate this interface. So it is already associated with primary one. Okay. This is associated with the primary. So what I have to do, let me just give the name like this. Primary. Give the name here. Secondary. Sorry, this is also a primary one, right? Let me create these untrusted interface and inside and outside interface for the secondary one. Inside NIC for secondary firewall. Subnet is I will just select that inside subnet, this one. Name equals to this. I'll create one more interface. This is for outside. And here I will select the outside NIC, which is this one. I will select this public subnet outside. Outside NIC secondary. Okay. So these are the interfaces which I have created just now, right? So inside NIC primary, inside NIC secondary. Just check subnet association for this one. Subnet ID is this one, right? 215. Let me just see the subnet ID. What is the subnet ID for 215? Which is subnet inside. Okay, so these are the correct interfaces association which we have done. Okay, now what I can do, I'll just select this interface inside next secondary, and I'll just attach this one with my Palo Alto Firewall 2. Now outside secondary, associate with my firewall 2. Now I will select my HA interface, which is HA secondary NIC. I'll just attach this with my firewall 2. Okay, so interface attachment has been completed, and you will see the details here. These are the IP details which we have got. Okay, now let me refresh this one. Let me refresh this one as well. And what I will do, I'll just go to into the devices, or before going into the devices, what I can do, go into this primary firewall, and these are the private IP addresses. Go to into the secondary, and this is the private IP, right? So what I can do, I'll go to into the CLIs. So system info, I will run this command. Go on top, ping host 12.250. They are able to communicate with each other. Okay, and also I want to go into my subnets, into route tables. This is my public route tables, and this is having subnets like, let me just go down here. It is having subnet like 10 dot, these are subnet which is associated 10.1.11.0, 10.1.10.0, and 12.0, right? This is outside subnet, this is management subnet, this is management subnet primary and secondary, right? What I will do, I'll go to now into my private routing table, subnet association, edit the subnet association, and what I will do, select this HA subnet secondary, then HA subnet primary, then private subnet inside, and I will select these three subnets, guys. Okay. I will select these three subnets. Just click on Save Association. Even though I can go with the 1HE subnet only. So if I'll go to my into interfaces, into HA secondary NIC, let me open new tab, this one. So this is having 10.1.14, right? And if I'll go to into HA primary NIC, this subnet is 13, right? That is okay. They will have a connectivity. But what we can also do here, let me just, if I can able to modify it, we go to into HS secondary NIC card. Okay, this one. Click on action, associate address. Let me first detach it. Okay, I will just detach it. In action, okay, this is for address only. Manage text, change description, change flows. We have to disable these checks as well. Like change termination behavior. Allow secondary private IP address. Okay. Well, looking if I can change the subnet of this one. HS secondary NIC 01. Okay. I want to put into the same subnet only. Okay. HA subnet primary. Let me just like this. Now I will delete this one. So let me delete it. And now I will just associate this one, okay, with my secondary firewall. Attach it with the secondary firewall. So I want HA interfaces into the same subnet, guys. That's why I have done this one. Even though they will able to communicate in this way, but I just want it into the same subnet. So it will avoid the unnecessary traffic flow between these subnets. I'll go to into my Palo Altos. I'll just refresh this one. So these are my interface details. So what I can do now, I'll just directly go to into my devices. Into high availability. Before that, I have to change the network interface type. So I will use this interface as a outside interface, as a HA interface. Change the interfaces up. HA is invalid. This option is invalid Ethernet. HA is invalid. Okay. Go down here. Change this name as a layer 3. Give the command. This is my outside interface. Make the interface up directly. IPv4 address I will use that IP address, which is 10.1.10.250/24. config. I will create my virtual router. I will not use default one. VR01. Okay. I'll just define here in zone which is outside. Select the outside zone. Click on OK. Give the name here inside. Type is layer 3. I will make the interface up manually. Go to into IPv4 and I'll just configure the IP address in my inside interface, which is 10.1.1.250/24. Config I will select here, which is VR01, and interface is my inside interface. Just configure these interface. Let me just do the commit over there. Commit is going on. Meanwhile, go to into devices. Let me just close this one so that commit will run in a backend. I just started with my HA config. I just enable the HA. Give the group ID which is 50. This is my active passive deployment. Select here active passive one. Mode is active passive. Enable config sync and peer HA1 IP address, right? So what IP address I will use in other end? So in HA I'm using 10.1. I think 10.1.10.1.12. I will use like 12. Maybe I can use in other end, which is 12.10 or 10.1.13 and 14, right? So I will have to use this one, not 12 one. It's saving now. Let's wait for this one. It's taking some time, no problem. I've used a 10.1.13.11 IP address. Okay. Meanwhile, let me also start configuring this guy. I'll go to into devices, into HA, click on this one. I'll enable HA. Group ID I will give 50. Group ID should be similar on both the devices. Active passive deployment. 10.1.13.10 I will use here because I will configure I 10.1.13.10 into my Palo Alto primary firewall. Click on save. Active passive settings. Okay, monitor time I will set as 1 minute. So here I will set the device priority 100 and timer is recommended. I will go with the default settings here because I want this device as a secondary. I will not configure any profile here. HA communication, I will go into this tab and I'll just configure my HA1 interface settings. Okay. I'll click on this one. I can use management port also as a HA port, but I will use a dedicated port here. So for using dedicated port, I'll go to into this network tab, into this interface, and I'll give the name here HA interface. Make the interface up, click on OK. Ethernet 163 HA is invalid. This option is invalid on this interface. I am not able to configure this interface as HA interface. Maybe there is some restrictions on this firewall. Okay. So what I can do, up, HA interface. Let me just try to do on this one. Okay, so I think first interface we will able to configure as a HA. So what we have to just change some, we have to do some modification on this firewall as well. Let me just refresh this one. I will use this interface as HA, this as a outside, this as a inside. Okay, no problem at all. Just wait here. H interface, I'll give this comment and click on OK. I'll also make these two interface also up. Layer 3 up. Go to into this one. I'll just make this interface also up. Type is layer 3. Go to into devices. Changing, after changing, just do the commit over there. Go to into this interfaces first. See, now interface has been come up, right? So let me go there. Just change this into as a HA interface. Click on OK. And this is this interface I will use for as a HA purpose. HA interface. This interface I will use as a outside. This interface I will put into my outside zone, and IPv4 address I will modify. I will add which is 10.1.10.250/24. Click on OK. I'll go into this interface Ethernet 1/3. Change the type of layer 3, and I'll give here inside. Interface is up. IP4 address is 10.1.1.250/24. Configuration is I will configure here VR01 and zone is inside zone. Now let me just do the commit here. Let me go there. Let me just disable this HA because I will disable it first. I will just commit it. So because I have changed the type interface type as HA, right? So I will use that interface. Let's wait here. Commit is also going on here. So let's wait for this commit to complete, guys. So commit has been completed successfully, right? I'll go to into my device tab. I will enable the HA device priority. I will go here 50. Description is active passive 10.1.13.11. I will use this IP address in other end. Device priority I will use here 50 in this device because I want to make this device as an active device. Click on this gear icon. I'm only getting this management interface, so I'll just click on this one. I will use Ethernet 1.3 as a data interface. Okay, and here I will use IP address which is 10.1.13 dot we can say 11 255.255.255.0. Click on OK. And here what I have used, I will use my management port. Okay, so 10.1 dot I am using 10.1.11 and 12, right? 10.1.11.250. In other end we will have IP address which is 10.1.12.250. This is the management IP address of my other firewall, which is right there. Type here so run so interface management. This is the IP address. I will define this IP address here because I'm using management interface as a control link and management interface as a control link, and HA2 interface I will use as Ethernet 1/3. But there is some so like in this particular firewall which we have in AWS, there is some difference actually. In real time we can use HA1 dedicated HA1 port and HA2 port, but here we will be using here management port. All these things I will leave default. Now I'll do the commit as well here. I'll go to into this firewall. I'll enable the HA. Group ID is 50, active passive deployment, and other end having IP address which is 10.1.11.250. This is the IP address. Device priority is fine. Go to into HA communication. Let's wait here. Let me just reload. Click on this gear icon. I'm using here management port as a HA interface, right? Go into this one and I'll use port number Ethernet 1/3. IP address is 10.1.13.10 255.255.255.0. Go there 10.1.13.11. We'll use 10.1.13.11. I will use here. HA2 interface 10.1.13 10.1.13.11 here, and here also we have. So let me just use here 10. Not much difference. Okay. So now I am done with the HA config into this device as well. Now let me just do the commit over there. I will click on task. So commit is failed. So I will check the field reason. H ability requires an IAM role to be configured on AWS, right? Because we have not configured any IAM role. So I'll go to into these instances. And what I will do, I'll go to into services. Into IAM rule, I have to create one IAM policy. So EC2, I will give the EC2 full access. Palo Alto IAM rule. Next. Okay, create this role. So now this role has been created. Let me search for this one, Palo Alto. Now I'll go to into this instance, action, security, and modify IAM role here. Palo Alto IAM, save it, select this device, go to into security, modify IAM rule, and then Palo Alto IAM rule. I will select this one and click on OK. Now let me just do the commit one more time. HA requires an IAM rule to be configured on AWS. HA agent, client HA agent phase 1 failure. Okay. Let me just do the commit one more time. This device and this device as well. Role has been already allowed configured, but we have to wait here for some time. So now guys, let me just reboot these both the devices because we have associated these interfaces, right? So that's why these interfaces are not coming up. So we have to reboot both the devices, guys. Okay. Commit is also failing. So let me just go with the reboot first. Let me just run the commit one more time, and if it will fail, then definitely I'll just reboot these devices, and after that we will basically see how things works. So this commit is still in progress. So it is failing because we have just also, we actually, when we have deployed these machines, we have forgotten to associate the, or we can say we just forget to attach the IAM rule. So just now I have attached this IAM rule because they use this IAM rule to send the, they will use for the HA communication. So I need to now restart both these machines. So what I can do, I'll go to into this, setup, services, operations, and I can just reboot from here as well. But what I want to reboot from this particular place, from my AWS. So I'll just go to into instance and just reboot the instance. I'll select another one and I'll just reboot this instance as well. And we will wait for these two devices to come up. Okay, after reboot they will come up, so we will wait here for some time. So now after reboot both devices have come up. Okay, and if you see the status of your interfaces, see interface is now up in both the devices. Now what? And if I'll go into devices, HA config is also there. So what I will do now, I will just do the commit here. So commit is going on. Interface status is also on this device is also come up. Edge settings also there. Commit I have already initiated on this one previously. Okay, and then commit was also completed on this one. Let's wait for this commit to complete. And after that, when you go to into dashboard, the wizard, just go to systems and select this HA and interface details. So you will be able to see these two wizards here. See, right now HA is in initializing state, right? So commit is completed. So let's wait here for this one to complete. Dashboard. So this device has become active because I have just hit the commit first on this device. Okay, but this device is in passive stage. What? Let me just do one thing. I'll just click on sync to peer. Just sync the configuration first. Synchronization is in progress now. When this synchronization will complete, we will able to see the other details like IP address and all. Let's see. Synchronized. Here also config has been synchronized. If you go to into network, and you will get all these IP details, right? This is active right now. So I'll go to into devices. Let me just make first device as a suspend local device. Suspend it. I'll just make this one active. Go to into this one. I'll just make device this functional. Now this is active and this is your passive device. This is how we will deploy like Palo Alto Firewall in AWS cloud, and also how this is the way we will configure them into active passive mode. This is in passive, other is in active device. Okay. If you see here, if I'll go into networking, go to into virtual routers, into VR01, I will add one route, default route over there. So default route, I'll give the name default route 0.0.0.0/0. I will choose my interface, which is this one. Next hop. So what? You can just define the next hop, which is 10.1.10.1. Okay. Click on OK. Click on commit. Now let me quickly deploy one more EC2 instance as a into my private subnet, okay? And we will see how they are communicating, right? So I will just select this AMI EC2 instance. This one I will select here subnet, which is private subnet. I will disable. I want the public private IP address on this one. Private IP address I will want 10.1.1.100 IP I want on this sum. Next. Next. Name equals to test BM. Security group is Palo Alto 1. Review, launch, and launch this EC2 instance. Actually, I have to configure one I manage one public IP address as well on this PM. Now what you have to do now, you go to into your routing table, into a private routing table, to routes, private routing table into routes, and just edit the routes and add one default route, guys. Now add one default route 0.0.0.0/0, pointing towards the, you have to type, select a network interface. What is the network interface you have to use? Palo Alto inside NIC primary fiber. You have to choose, you have to basically use this interface. Now what I can go to into, I will create one more, I will launch one more EC2 instance, guys. Okay. This instance I will basically put into the same private subnet. I will put into public subnet. Okay. I want public IP address, so I will enable it. Next, next, name. Give the name like jump, host, security group, Palo Alto SG I will call here. Debut, launch. View instances. These are the instances which is right now running, right? This is the jump host. This is the another host, right? Now if I'll go to into my Palo Alto machine, which is right there. Restart this session. Restart this session as well. Ping. Ten dot one dot one dot 250 to host. Let me just see what is the IP address on these machines. Test machine having IP address 10.1.1.100. So I will just ping to 10.1.1.100. 100. So these are the interfaces. Okay, inside, outside, this one. I'll go to into the jump host. Now this is a little bit tricky things, guys. What I will just first log into this jump host. Okay, new session. Load the session. 10.1.1.100. Let me just see if I can able to ping. I can able to ping 10.1.1.250. I'm not able to ping that IP address of 250. Okay. So now if you have seen, both of my Palo Alto devices is running fine, right? I'll go to into my interfaces one more time. This is my outside interface. This is my inside interface. I'll go to in my inside interface into advanced, and I'll also create my interface management profile. I'll enable like tell SHS, HTTPS, and ping on my management profile. MGMT. Give this name to this profile, some bogus name. This is how we generally configure our things. Okay, guys. This one into this interface also. I'll just configure the interface management profile. Create this profile. Yes, and I'll just click on commit. Just wait for this commit. And meanwhile, what I have done actually, if I'll go to into my I have just launched one more jump host on my AWS, which is having public IP address. I have logged into this jump host. Okay, from that jump host, I have created this test VM. This particular test VM, which is a part of our private subnet, right? Who is getting IP address which is 10.1. 10.233, right? And this is the public IP address. Not in this one. I'll just go into test, right? This is the IP address. So what I've done, I first log into the jump host, and after from that jump host, I just SSH to my this machine, which is 10.1.1.100, which is in my which is behind the inside interface of our Palo Alto. Okay. You also need to do one more thing, guys. Just go to into all these interfaces, and you have to just disable the source and destination check on these interfaces, guys. Just go to actions. This one, go to into, so this is the network interfaces. Okay, let's go down. Outside interface of secondary, go there and just click on change source and destination check. You have to just modify these settings, guys. Outside NIC primary, just go there and just click on change source and destination check. We have to disable this check here as well. I'll go to into inside of secondary. I'll just disable this one, so it is already disabled. Now I'll go to into the enter, which is inside of primary, and I will disable this source and destination check into that interface as well. Change source and destination check, right? It is also disabled here. These are the also things I have to do into this one. Now I'll go to into my policies, and I can just define my security policies if you want here. But I will just create one rule. Allow all. It will allow all the traffic. Source zone is any. Destination zone is also any. Application any. Click on log at the session start. Click on OK. Go to into this one. If you want, configure the net rule as well. Net. Source zone is from inside. Destination zone is outside. Destination interface is Ethernet 1/2. Source address from 10.1.1.0/24 range. Translate packet, destination and IP and port number, and translate address interface address. Just use that IP address for doing the net. Click on commit. Whatever settings we are making on other firewall, all these settings will automatically replicate into this device, guys. Okay. So we will wait here for some time. You will be able to see all these details here. This is monitor tab and all. So if you are familiar with the Palo Alto, you are aware about all these settings, guys. These are the monitor tab. I'm just looking for where I can see the session browser. Here I will get the session information if there is any existing session. Right? Policy has been also replicated. See, this rule is replicated. This rule is also replicated. Generally, this is how we will basically configure this Palo Alto Firewall in AWS Cloud, guys. Let me also just modify a few settings. I'll go to into network tab here. Okay. I'll go to into this interface. And instead of configuring this IP address, this physical IP address, what I will go, I'll just select a DHCP option. Go there, and I will also select the DHCP options here as well. DHCP client option. Yes. Now I'll go to into my virtual routers. This route here, static route. So let me just check the okay. This is correct. I click on OK now. Into policies, net rule, I just need to just modify this net rule. This time I have changed the IP address, so I will use here instead of interface, I will use translated IP address, and let me use some other IP which is 10.1.10. We can say 50. Let me just do the commit. As soon as this commit will complete, so this is how, because we can also configure the IP address on Palo Alto interfaces via DHCP. I just want to show this thing. Let's wait for this commit to complete. 98%, 99% now. Commit is quick fast on this particular machine actually. See this DHCP, and they will get the IP address as well in some time. See, they will get this IP address in your outside interface, and this IP address in your inside interface. 10.1.13.105 guys. 10.1.13.105. Okay. So what I have to do, instead of putting one interface, because what happened guys, I think we have did some mistake by associating the subnets. Okay. So what I will do, because if I'll check the inside interface, this NIC card for primary, it is associated this subnet 10.1.1. That subnet is correct. It is already attached, right? No problem. So I think our inside interface is the interface which is, let me tell you, which is our inside interface right now. Palo Alto IP address from DHCP we are getting, which is 10.1.13.105, right? So 13.105 we will look here. So this is our inside interface, which is HA primary NIC card. HA primary NIC card is a inside interface right now, guys. I think when we have allocated these interfaces, that time I think we have did some mistake. That's why, but it's okay. So we will do the things carefully, guys. Okay. See, this is the subnet which is associated with this interface. So this is how we generally deploy our Palo Alto firewall into this one. Up, if you want to extend the things, guys, what you can do, you can go to into this machine, just delete this test machine because I don't require this one, because I will not able to modify manage IP address. Okay, I will not able to modify anything on this one, so I'll just delete this machine. I'll terminate this test PC. I'll just launch a new test machine. Okay, into that subnet who is having 10.1.13, that subnet. Okay, BPC and subnet is, I will select here HA subnet primary. Let me just go into subnets and I'll see the IP address. 13 is HA subnet primary, right? This is the subnet, and this subnet is also part of HA subnet primary. Let me see into my private routing table. H is subnet primary. It's a part of this one. So I don't want public IP address, so I will just disable it. And on this, I want IP which is 10.1.13.100. Next, next tag is name equals to VM01. Inside, I'll give this name. Security gateway, I'll just use this gateway. Review and launch. Let me just launch this particular VM. I'll just click on view launch instance. Right now I'm on a jump host. Right from that jump host, I will try to log into that machine, guys. This newly installed machine. I'll just get this IP address. Just do the ping. Try to ping from here. This new machine. Ping is working, which means I can able to SHS on that machine. So SHS hyphen I, then I will use my key which I have imported, then EC2 hyphen user at the rate that IP address, accept the keys, and I am into that machine. Right from this machine, if I'll try to ping to 10.1.13. What is the IP address I have got into my Palo Alto machine? So IP address is 13.105. I can able to ping to this Palo Alto www. Let me just try to ping google.com if I'm able to do that. I'm not able to reach till Google. In outside interface, I'm getting this IP address. This IP address is fine. 10.1, 10.1.10.56, right? So let me just go into virtual routers. Let me just see the default route. Ethernet 1/2 10.1.10.1. So static route is fine here. Ping to A.8.8.8. Let me just ping this public IP. Show session. Ping to sources 10.1.13.105 to host 10.1.13.100. Ping is working for this machine from here as well. So what I will just take this IP address, I'll go to into my routing table because I need to modify my private routing table in routes. Click on edit route because previously network interface, and I will use this HA primary NIC because my inside interface of Palo Alto is behind this one only. That's why. So session all, there's no session. So like it is able to resolve the IP address of Google actually with this one. But ping is not working somehow. So if we are able to resolve this IP address, which means there is a connectivity. Okay. So guys, this is how we generally deployed Palo Alto Firewall into AWS cloud. I have run here curl command. So that traffic going to this interface from 10.1.0.0/20 subnet. Subnet are, these are the three subnet, 13, 14 and 1, right? Let me also see the routing table for public subnet into routes, edit route. This is our internet gateway, 10.1.0.0. Okay. These are the subnets which we have associated into that routing table. Okay. So this is how guys we will deploy generally Palo Alto Firewall into an AWS cloud. And we have able to successfully do it, guys. Okay. Okay. Thanks for watching this lecture, guys. Take care. Bye bye.